Okay, let's dig into this. American exceptionalism. It's a term we hear thrown around a lot, right? Causes a lot of arguments.
It really does.
But what if we think about it differently? Not just, as a historical thing or some claim about being the best, but more like an active blueprint, maybe a guide for the future.
Exactly. That's the core of this particular theory we're looking at. It frames American exceptionalism, or A, as something more dynamic. It calls it a prescriptive and revisionary conceptual analysis.
Okay, prescriptive and revisionary. So not just what America is, but actively defining what it should be aiming for, constantly refining itself.
That's the idea. It's built on some deep foundations, philosophical, psychological, even theological, to pin down America's, unique place and purpose.
And it mentions America being primus inter pares, first among equals.
Yeah.
But also a meta-nation. That sounds interesting. What does that mean here?
Yeah, the meta-nation concept is pretty key. It suggests America isn't just one single culture, but more like a collection. Maybe around 11 distinct cultural regions, all under one umbrella, often, rubbing up against each other.
11 regions. Wow. Okay. So not monolithic at all.
Not at all. And the theory argues its purpose is, pretty profound.
Yeah.
To help Americans figure out how to be in the world, essentially, with a strong identity, always striving towards a kind of transcendent justice or good.
Transcendent good. And it also aims to, illuminate the lacuna of justice.
Yes, that's a powerful part. Spotlighting those areas where justice is missing, things we might not even see, making the invisible injustices visible, so maybe something can be done.
Right, bringing them into the light. So this theory, it sounds like it acknowledges challenges within this framework. We found some pretty counterintuitive ideas. Paradoxes, almost.
Oh, definitely. One big one is this idea about connection. America's huge success in, quote, overcoming the tyranny of distance, better communication, technology.
Right, we're more connected than ever.
But ironically, the theory says that can lead to myopia.
Myopia, like short-sightedness.
Exactly. We get so caught up in the close-up view from all this information that we lose sight of the bigger picture. And that can actually drive fragmentation, not unity.
Huh. More connection, less perspective. I can see that. And speaking of division, what about this political chirality concept? That one really stood out. It's about the left and right.
It is, and it's a wild take, like you said, chirality, like mirror images in chemistry.
Yeah, non-superimposable mirror images.
Right. So political chirality suggests our left and right aren't just enemies destined to fight forever. Instead, they're like a reflective symmetry.
Okay. How does that work?
The theory proposes they act like a wave, maybe? A transverse wave of centripetal oscillation, fancy terms. But the idea is that their back and forth actually move society forward towards meliorism, which is just gradual improvement.
So the conflict itself drives progress.
In a way, yes. It even connects this to something called the parousia, which adds sort of theological endpoint to political progress. It's fascinating stuff.
That is completely different from the usual narrative.
Wow. Okay, and then there's maybe the boldest claim we saw.
I think I know which one you mean.
The U.S. was never racist. America is its ideals, not the action of citizens. That's provocative, to say the least. How does the theory even begin to justify that, given history?
Well, it makes a very sharp distinction. It defines America strictly by its founding ideals and its constitutional standards, the aspirational part. Not by the actions, even the terrible actions of people within America throughout history.
So the failures are human failures, not failures of the American idea itself.
That's the argument. It claims the founding did something radical by disassociating truth from power, separating ideals from brute force. It even traces this lineage back to Christ. So from this viewpoint, the ideals remain untarnished, even when citizens fail to live up to them. That's a major reframing. And finally, the theory positions itself against globalism. It sees it as a threat.
Very much so. It paints globalism as a kind of deliberate war, maybe led by a globalist elite, against the public's right to self-determination, basically against people deciding things for themselves at a national level.
Okay, so if that's the threat, what's the defense?
It proposes something called doxastic voluntarism, which sounds complicated, but it's about belief.
Right, doxastic means belief.
It argues we don't directly choose our beliefs, but we can indirectly control them. By consciously choosing the evidence we look at, the sources we trust, the social circles we engage with, managing our informational environment.
So it's about taking control of what influences your thinking.
Yeah.
As a way to resist demoralization efforts.
Precisely. Empowering individual thought as a defense.
So wrapping this up for you, our listener, this theory really pushes us, doesn't it? It asks, when you think about America, how much weight do you give to its historical actions versus its founding ideals?
Right.
Where do you draw the line?
Mm-hmm. And personally, how mindful are you being about your own information? Are you actively curating it to avoid that myopia we talked about, to really foster your own self-determination in this flood of information?
Lots to chew on there. Definitely a different lens through which to view a very familiar, very debated topic.